Alrighty, I've been too damn busy and too damn tired to stream the past little while. Thought I'd make some time today to knock out the usual Sunday stream at least, while I also work on even more stuff outside of the YouTube sphere. Don't have anything for a real preamble or anything. We're just going to jump right into it. Let me click the magic buttons. This is Kent Hovind's stream from this morning. Exodus 6. What's your excuse? Um, no idea where this is going to go beyond the fact that he's touching on something in Exodus. Let's see where it goes.
It is October the 19th, 2025. Did you see Trump issued a warning to everybody evacuate Tehran, the capital of Iran? He ain't messing around.
No, I didn't. And, that kind of doesn't sound like the president of peace all you right-wing fuckwits want to make him out to be. Also, what has Iran actually done recently beyond the same crap they've been doing for the past 25 years or more? Ain't really. I can't think of anything out of the ordinary in U.S.-Iran relations. So this just seems like Trump wants to, pick his bad guy. Oh, the Bushes had Iraq, so I got to have Iran. And just go after him. Because, that's your president of peace right there. Just starting shit. But what do I know? I'm just some left-wing nut job, right? I don't understand politics at all. Oh, no. I can't even with this shit. I was not expecting that from the get-go. But surprisingly, no, I had not heard anything about it. Nor do I necessarily really give a shit. Because if Donny Boy wants to help bring about World War III, like there aren't 500 other things happening right now that are just on the cusp of becoming global issues, if they aren't already by some analysis, then he's just going to fucking do it anyway, because you apocalypse-obsessed nut jobs just love to ruin everything.
We'll see. This may be it, folks. Get my book, What on Earth is About to Happen, for heaven's sake, about what the Bible teaches about the future, or see my video series, What's About to Happen, according to the Bible. Okay.
Anyway. But it's really according to Hovind, but it's according to the Bible, though, so it's cool. I can say it. Just like all those people predicting the rapture. They can totally say it, even though you're not supposed to know the hour or the day or any of that shit. But, they can totally predict it because they're interpreting what the Bible says. See, it's a loophole.
Let's see, this morning, Exodus chapter 6. Back and fixing one of the ones that's missing from our Exodus series, so you can buy the whole Exodus Bible study. In chapter 6, God told Moses...
At least you're transparent, so you can buy the whole Exodus Bible study. It's not because it's missing and we need to, recreate it or replace it. No, it's so you can buy the whole Bible study. I'm glad you're being honest there.
Very clearly, go talk to Pharaoh. Tell him to let the people go.
Go talk to Pharaoh. I feel like if you went up, one, you wouldn't be going up to the leader of Egypt in any capacity like that. But if you went up and called them Pharaoh, you'd probably get shot with some sort of space-age future tech that we know the Egyptians had. I've watched Stargate. I know what's up. If you're going to pronounce my title, pronounce it right, you fucking dimwits. Pharaoh. God, it pisses me off more than it should. Then again, I'm offended by abject stupidity, so there you go.
And Moses made excuses. I can't do it because... It's hilarious. We'll see those in just a minute. We're on a lot of different channels.
It's hilarious. I got the whole damn deity of the universe behind me, but this has to be some convoluted ass bullshit where I gotta sit there and show I'm some kind of sorcerer and paint blood on walls or doors to make sure that the magical all-seeing deity doesn't kill the right kind of people, and swarms of locusts, and it's raining frogs, and the water's turning the frogs gay or something like that. I don't know. But it's totally a good story, and he can laugh about it because he's Hovind. It's funny.
People put stuff up on YouTube, which is fine. Please do, okay? But we're on Facebook, on TikTok, on Rumble. Let's see, on X, have our own app, KentHovind.tv. And let's see, Instagram.
Exactly. It all boils down to them supporting Israel strictly because it brings about their boners. It gets them off thinking about the end of the world. because that's all they fucking care about. Christianity's a fucking death cult. Prove me wrong, fuckers. Not you guys are fuckers. I mean, the people who believe this crap. Pharaoh was a girl I knew once. Yeah, it is amazing how the Egyptians never recorded this. You know, that's really fascinating. But of course, it's because they never record when they lose. That's the thing. No one ever documents their losses. That's why, that's why all the history books, everybody wins every conflict ever. That's how it works. Even for ancient history, Hovind and them just cry conspiracy.
TikTok. So what's your excuse? There's a great song written years ago. The guy died that wrote it. But I found this morning this guy playing it on his guitar. I don't know who the guy is, but I encourage you, go to his channel and say, thank you for playing that. I like it. Join us. He's only got like 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers. All of you, all of my folks, go subscribe to him on YouTube.
I was about to say something funny. I'll say it anyway. Kent, are you about to just play someone else's video? Just straight up? I mean, I know you're going to. I just had to say it, because that's the first thing you think to say, and then realize the irony of doing reaction videos like this.
Harold Lake. I'll show it here in a second. No, Eddie, E-D-D-I-E, Galen, G-A-L-Y-E-A-N.com. Okay, here we go. Take it away, Eddie. There we go.
I'll give it like 3 seconds, and then I'm jumping ahead. Good God, it's more bullshit than I thought it'd be. Holy fuck. Sounds like... Actually, it's perfect. It sounds like counterfeit fucking SpongeBob. Alright, we're jumping ahead of this shit. I don't care.
It's too...
Tap it, tap it.
Go to
Oh my God, how long does this stupid song go on for? Okay, thank you.
My mouse died. There we go. Okay. Here we are in October. Man, October the 19th. The month is going fast. The whole year's going fast. Join us for this Halloween. Come here instead. I'll be a harvest festival.
He said the H word. He said the H word. He said Halloween. Hovind said Halloween. I don't know. It's been such a week. I'm getting like a manic episode from just streaming again. This is going to be a goofy one.
Adventureland. Come for Veterans Day. Come for Thanksgiving Day. You don't have
he said it again. Veterans Day.
To go. We'll be your family.
Or did he say it last time? Veteran. I forget how he mispronounced it. I hear so many words get mispronounced by this clown. I forget which is even the right way to say it anymore. Veteran. Okay, yeah, you actually said it right that time. Okay.
It's a lot of fun. Our kids go crazy around here. How many of you kids tried that new swing that spins around? How many tried that one? Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? Yeah?
Yeah, and it has absolutely fuck all to do with your magic fairy tales, you dumb old twat.
One of those wild ideas you get at 3 in the morning. We're eating pizza with peanut butter on it. Lots of folks come here. Anybody coming this way from Maple Park, which is near Chicago, wants to bring a big tortoise to us. This guy wants to put it on loan to the ministry. Maybe forever. You never know.
Yeah, because it's going to fucking die there at DAL.
So if you're coming this way from up Maple Park, you can Google that. But let us know. We'll pay you to come down here and bring the big tortoise down here. Okay, we are in the Central Time Zone. Joseph wants me to tell everybody that's, different than other time zones. We schedule programs sometimes to be on somebody's show or podcast, and they don't understand the world's round, and there's different time zones on it.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't seem to comprehend the difference between standard and daylight time, which really shows some massive idiocy. Since right now we're still in daylight savings time, so any times listed by Hovind and crew in Central Time will be Central Daylight Time and not Central Standard. There is a difference. We are currently an hour ahead of where we should be. Central Time Zone is GMT -6. Right now it's GMT -5 because we're one of those idiotic countries that decides to shift the clock forward because of fucking farmers 200 years ago. As you can tell, I am for the banning of daylight savings time, but for some reason, everyone in this country has it ass backwards. And for some reason, they want us to stay on daylight time because they don't understand what the time change is, why it is, and how it is, The miseducation of people in this country goes far beyond the most obvious things to even the most minor things that turn out to be for some people, bigger problems than they should be, or some situations bigger problems than they should be. There's your daily dose of mytism. Let's continue.
If you want to schedule me to be on your podcast or your show, please do. I did with 3 of them yesterday, but got to make sure you got the right time zone. We're waiting for the link to come in, and they say, "Oh, you're in Central Time Zone." Yeah, Alabama. Okay. Anyway, all Scripture is profitable for doctrine, for correction, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect. Watch this now.
Yeah, that is a good point. He should, because he does seem to be placing the blame on the people he he sets up things with on their particular timetable. And it's like, no, you're supposed to coordinate with them. You're supposed to keep aware of their time zones.
Thoroughly, not thoroughly, thoroughly furnished. God wants you all the way through, right to your heart. Okay. Nehemiah said they read in the book of the law of God distinctly and gave the sense.
All right, I'm already at the point where I'm regretting this stream because I stopped a marathon of Aqua Teen Hunger Force to do this. I'm at the Brood Witch, by the way. So, midway through the first chunk of the series.
And cause them to understand the reading. That's 3 things every preacher ought to do. Every Bible, every Sunday school class teacher. You read it to them, then you explain it, then you help them understand it.
You read what's actually in there, you tell them what you want them to interpret from it, then you make sure that they know what you want them to interpret from it, or else.
The job is not to correct it or change it. Just read it, explain it, help them understand. Okay, so we're in the book of Exodus right now. That's the second book in the Bible where we get our word exit. This is when they go out of Egypt, they exit. Genesis leaves the children of Israel in Egypt as slaves. Now that Moses has to come lead them out, get out of there. So you've got the creation about 6,000 years ago, 4,000 BC. Same thing on the chart behind me here. 4,400 years ago, there was a big flood, the days of Noah. God called Abram 2,000 years BC to start the nation.
The days of Noah. I swear, Hovind's thinking that if the world continues past his forever, ever-present apocalypse, it's coming next Tuesday, every next Tuesday, they'll eventually talk back, future civilizations will look back on this, on the days of Hovind. He's got to think that, like, boy, wouldn't that be swell?
This is 350 years after the flood. So we're going to look at this time zone right here between the flood, I apologize here, and the time of Moses. So they're down there in Egypt as slaves. Moses was actually raised in Egypt by the Pharaoh's daughter, the princess. He spoke fluent Egyptian. He knew the way they thought. He knew.
Really, Kent? You wanna go into detail on which variation of Egyptian that was, which dialect, or do they not go into details? Because it's fucking made up.
About all their pagan gods, and he didn't fall for it. He served the Lord God. You can grow up in a pagan community and still serve God. Okay, so he leads them out.
It's funny if they were slaves that that their particular deity would not have been quite literally the concept of it beaten out of them if they were slaves. Because that seems to be the kind of cultural bleaching, no innuendo intended there, although one can take it when you think about more modern slave events, that happens when one culture quite literally dominates another. It tends to destroy everything that makes that other culture what it is and breaks it down to just the people doing what the captors demand, usually imprinting their culture onto those captives. So it seems very weird to me that they would have retained, especially over, what is that? Is that seriously like a 600-year period almost? That it would have been a 600-year period where they would have retained any fragments of what is quite literally their Abrahamic monotheistic faith. That would have immediately been torn away from them. I don't think I've ever heard, I'm sure it's been brought up, but I don't recall anyone actively bringing it up. So it's an interesting thought.
Out of Israel, out of Egypt. So you got Abraham, who married Sarah, and they had Isaac. They also had a son with Keturah, his handmaiden, and Hagar, and they had nations that probably should not even exist today, and we're still having trouble with those guys over there. You can read that for yourself.
Oh, but Ken Hovind isn't a racist and says shit like that, because by nations, he means tribes. He means differing cultures. But you're not a racist, Kent. But you say shit like that. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on, you bigoted son of a bitch.
Isaac and Rebekah had Jacob and Esau. Esau is the father of the Edomites, and you read the Bible, they had all kinds of trouble with the Edomites. Jacob had 12 sons. One of them was Joseph. The brothers were jealous of him, and they sold him into slavery down in Egypt. They were down there for quite a while, and now Moses is going to lead them out. So here we go. Here's Abraham right there, then Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. Now you don't.
Oh, look out. We got the high def longevity chart here. Oh, no. Is that a little picture of Kent right there? Who the fuck is that? Is that Kent? That's gotta be him. My God, Kent, you can't even use a version of it that doesn't have your own ugly face on there. Wow. You suck.
See this until you graph it out on a chart like I made. You can buy these, get 6 of them for your placemats for your table.
You can graph it out, but don't graph it out. I've already got one you can buy. And once again, I must point out that strangely follows a rough appearance of North and South America. Or the American supercontinent, if you prefer, since I like to call it that.
Table when your skeptic friends come for lunch. Other side is about the Grand Canyon forming in a week, not millions of years. So,
boy, you just want to have these placemats that both sides are total loads of bullshit? I got them for you, $10 each, motherfucker.
When you graph things out, you'll see things you don't see just reading the numbers. You know, Jacob could have known Shem, Noah's son. Can you imagine the stories they could tell? Shem could tell you what it was like.
I mean, yeah, given that you're telling one of those crappy stories about those characters. So it seems like people from back in those idiot days made up a lot of stupid stories.
Like before the flood, he was there for 100 years. Oh, everything was much bigger. I think stories were passed on. You know, eyewitness.
My dick was huge. Then there was some shrinkage. And that's a side effect of the flood.
Accounts. Anyway, these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. So Joseph is already there, and his 11 brothers now and dad are going to move down to Egypt. And it names all of them Reuben, Levi.
Oh, Claude, he still promotes those if you hunt carefully enough. Now, he is and I'm finding this to be common now that I look at it in detail amongst the American evangelical movement. They are Zionist Nazis. They are incredibly anti-Semitic, absolutely despise the Jewish people, but simultaneously are pro-Israel, as has been mentioned before, for the enacting of their doomsday prophecies, since that's all they care about. So Israel's just a means to an end for them. Amazing stuff, really.
Simeon, Levi, etc. Okay. All the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. But Joseph was in Egypt already. Joseph died and all his brethren and all that generation. And pretty soon the land was...
Joseph died? Then who's going to answer my email when I finally get back to sending an email back to, quote-unquote, your account, which is managed by Joseph, to explain, hey, sorry, it's been kind of a rough couple of weeks and I've been preoccupied with stuff. Here's my current status on the inevitable, quote-unquote, debate that is being set up. Because I feel like Joseph thinks I've just chickened out, or, you know, maybe not him so much, but if he's related to Hovind would think so. And that's not the case. It's just constantly slipped my mind. And every time I think about it, I'm in no position to actually sit there and compose a response email.
Filled with Jews, okay? They kept having kids and grandkids. And there now arose a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. He didn't know that Joseph had spared the whole nation with his, prophecies and warning him to get ready. He said to the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we are. So this Pharaoh got worried. Our slaves are going to lead a revolt and take over.
So you're just going to show Tutankhamun's burial mask? Are you trying to say it was Tutankhamun, or is that where you're going with it, Kent? Or did you just put generic Egyptian picture number 427 because you're uncultured swine? You and your audience.
On now, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply and come to pass. When there falleth out any war, they join our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. He's worried about losing his slave labor force, okay? Like the communists are worried about people wanting a fair wage for their work. Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck are you on about, Kent? Oh, do you really want to go there during this? Do you really want to?
They don't want that. They want you to all work for them.
No, Kent. The quote unquote far left, which is what you would call communist, because you don't actually know what communism is, you don't know what socialism is, you don't know what general liberalism is, and those are different sides of the same general facet, different facets of the same side of the political spectrum, shall we say. Different methodologies, different variations that are tangentially related to one another through various reasons and logic chains that I don't have the energy to go into here. Last I checked, Kent, we on the left were the ones fighting for proper wages to try to perpetually stop the endless exploitation that does occur via the way capitalism is handled here in the United States and many other Western nations, to where corporate rights exceed those of individuals. Not super extreme like it used to be. You know, there's that meme going around of Henry Ford invented the 40-hour, 5-day work week, and they go, everyone boo this man. Only forgetting that previously it was 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, usually, if you were lucky. So Ford actually made things a little better for workers. Yeah, he was a fucking Nazi, quite literally, but we're looking at each individual piece of things that was done by the person. That was generally seen as a benefit, and indeed, movements to shorten the work week, increase pay, and balance out the actual income of businesses, of companies, with the work being done by the workers, it's been analyzed to definitely be beneficial in much the same way that people rallied against Ford's idea, yet it showed to create more happy, more productive workers in the grand scheme. Where the quality of work improved and you didn't have to make up for quality dips with the sheer quantity, people weren't as exhausted as they were. They could actually enjoy their lives. Something we seem to have completely left. But where were we? Oh yeah, fair wages. People actually getting paid proper amounts to be able to live in this godforsaken shithole of a country that it's become. Yeah, that's kind of a good thing. And you want to say we're the ones against it. You don't even understand the shit enough to know that you're on the side who wants people to not get paid jack diddly shit. While also, incidentally, since I might as well bring it up, wanting immigration policies to be enforced so hardcore that no one can get in, wanting everyone who doesn't meet some explicitly clone criteria of being a fucking WASP to be booted out of the country, yet also you're the ones hiring all the migrant workers because they're cheap compared to actual citizens. And you're the ones who spend the money to have these projects built by immigrant labor to benefit from their work and those cheap wages. So you pocket more money and get whatever project you're working on done. But you also want to kick out those very same people you exploit. None of it makes any fucking sense with you people. And I can't believe we have to constantly explain it. The entire American right either knows what they're doing and doesn't give a fuck that they're shooting themselves in their foot in the grand scheme, or they're seriously that fucking stupid that we honestly in no way, shape, or form should trust them to make any decisions about anything at all. Somehow they're all failing upwards. It's one or the other. Pick one and hold to it, fuckers. Where was I? Oh, right, Hovind.
Communism has never worked. That's why democracies are evil.
What? Jesus fucking Christ. do y'all want me to go into the communism never works thing? Because one of the things I've been doing the past couple of weeks is an extreme deep dive into elements of the history of the Soviet Union that people don't tend to focus on. It's a broad scope, but a very deep focus on a particular aspect of the broad scope that really puts everything into perspective. Also, can't communism works in Cuba, and socialist structures work in Venezuela. Beyond the fact that the perpetual embargoes placed by the United States really hamper their ability to actually work on the world stage. But audience, if you want me to go into detail on, because inevitably the main thing he's going to be thinking about is the Soviet Union and a few follow-on states. Ooh, yeah, it's going pretty well for Vietnam, I should say, and China's been doing pretty damned awesome. But there are some problems there we can get into. But if you want me to, let me know in the chat, because I've still got him full screen right now. So I'm gonna let him ramble for a little bit and see what y'all have to say.
The republic that you want. Another long story. Okay.
It's a republic that yeah, that's really working out well. These representatives who vote for their own interests, Kent, that's really worked out well.
So they set over them taskmasters to afflict them with burdens. Pharaoh said, I want you taskmasters, tell them to go make bricks, do whatever you got to do, but keep them working hard so they're too tired to even talk when they get home. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. Here's Egypt. There's Pithom and Ramses right there. Apparently the Jews were, the slave labor was to make the bricks for these cities. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they gathered.
Hey, Kent, there were no Jewish slaves in Egypt. There weren't. And not 2 goddamn million of them. There just simply weren't. Much like everything in your magic book of bullshit, it's a lie. Get the fuck over it.
They were grieved because of the children of Israel. So the Egyptians are all upset. They work them half to death, and it doesn't matter. They still got energy to go home and make babies. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives.
Notice Hovind is focused on the making babies thing. Okay, seriously, now that I brought it up, do y'all want my little synopsis on the Soviet problem? The thing that is the root of why every fucker like Kent, and just the whole thing of why, hey, this didn't work out. You want to know why? It's real simple. Real simple. Just let me know, because I really kind of want to go and do like a dry run of this entire thing.
With hard bondage, in mortar, in brick, all manner of service.
All right, hard bondage. Now we're getting somewhere.
Service in the field. All their service, when they made them serve, was with rigor. Work them to death if you can. But God does everything.
Just like America. Keep on working. Don't get overtime, but you got to stay. Make it work.
For your good. Things can happen to you and you wonder why. Well, if you just keep living, keep trusting, Bible promises, Romans 8:28, all things work together for good to them that love God.
Yeah, everything's looking really good. And you people who claim to love God so much really doing such good in the world. Yep. All the oppression, all the evil, all the starvation, all the hatred, all the bigotry, all the horror, just gone. Just gone. Things aren't a complete shit show. Oh, wait, they are, because you're all fucking monsters.
All you got to do is keep your heart right with God. I've had some bad things happen in my life. 72 years, I've been robbed several times to prison, had all kinds of problems, people leave.
Oh, boo fucking who, Kent? No one cares. Rogue Rainbow with a 279 Canadian super chat. Would love to hear it. All right, here we fucking go. Just let me get prepared. I got a bit of a coughing thing going on. All right, so here's the deal. Bolshevik Revolution happens, tail end of World War I. The Tsar is ousted by gunfire in Yekaterinburg. So the Tsar is dead. Bolsheviks take control of Russia. At least, the European part, in effect. They're like, yo, we're out of the war. We're not fighting Austria-Hungary and all that jazz. We're done with this. Focusing on our own problems. Russia goes through a state of a civil war. Lenin is in charge at this time. Lenin enacts a stronger centralized structure that was intended as a temporary process to go through this civil war. Lenin dies. Stalin takes over. As this civil war is winding down and as other nations are joining with the new Soviet Russia to form the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Here's the thing. Stalin's a power-hungry asshole. Keeps Trotsky and the like out of the chance of getting into position. So Stalin inherits a nation that is in a state of civil war and has strong centralized authority, and he doesn't relent. His follow-ons continue to not relent. What happened with the Soviet Union is quite simply what was supposed to be a temporary control measure by Lenin in the late 19-teens and early 1920s became a permanent way of life in the way the country operated. Meaning that the Soviet Union was perpetually fighting a 1920 war with itself up until 1980, constantly feeling a threat from the inside that had ceased to be, at least in the form it was originally created. Instead, creating a threat from the inside insofar as being perpetually oppressive because, again, they thought they were fighting against rebels that didn't exist anymore. This kind of totalitarian nature spawned mostly from Stalin, which was enabled by him gaining power of the Soviet Union, naturally came as part of the way not post-Soviet nations, but Soviet-inspired nations, Soviet-spawned nations like the various Warsaw Pact nations, the East Germany, etc., on through to Vietnam and most certainly North Korea would behave. Thus, them following relative Stalinist methodologies one way or another, at least even from the inception, if they did go their own way in varying levels with some countries, they still fit in to that sphere enough that we could paint communism with a broad brush as something oh so horrible and oh so controlling, when that was never the actual plan from Vladimir Lenin and from the revolution in and of itself. So when you realize that the Soviet Union was fighting the same war with itself for 60 years that had already ended before World War II, it suddenly makes sense. And when you have that kind of control and paranoia and lack of proper management for a national structure, a multi-nation structure, a union of various republics that should not have had that kind of centralized top-down system that Lenin was specifically against, but that stayed active because of this perpetual paranoia, you get a dysfunctional nation because the communist system cannot work at that kind of scale. It has to be small, isolated, cooperative environments. Almost city-states, if you will, making up the nations in some interpretations. Just it was an eye-opening moment when I realized that in doing some research the other week. I mean, like, holy shit, that's why. Stalin took advantage of the situation Lenin had set up, and everyone else just followed suit, even though there was de-Stalinization and the like. And things kind of got a little crazy. I don't know how else to put it, ad hoc like this, just off the cuff. But yeah, I've got some pieces planned on that because I'm going to start writing more because honestly, I'm sick and tired of doing the YouTube game. I mean, I'm still going to do it, but I'm not devoting as much energy as someone might think to it because, yeah, this is a lot to go through for relatively minimal reward. But yeah, that's sort of the gist of what I think and what I feel went on. Stepdad suggested that we move to Kent's Dino Camp. I shut that down so fast. Even told him, "Try and I will bury you that not even your God will find you." Damn. Woohoo! I'm a left-wing piece of shit. Hell yeah. Putin falls in his mindset. He's still at war. Putin is a hardline neo-Soviet insofar as he is ex-KGB and the like. He wants that supreme authority. He grew up post-Stalin, but he seems somewhere to idolize the same ideals and wants to take advantage of it, and knows that since a lot of Russian citizens just seem to generally, as a cultural thing, be pissed they lost the Cold War. That's the vibe I have gotten from interactions with Russians online. Like, it's just straight up. They find out American when I'd be chatting in like international chat stuff, and they just start going off, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa! I like Russia. What? I like the Soviet history. I like the people. What are you talking about? Chill, bro. I didn't like the way the system worked, but I love the ideal. Let's chill out. I think a lot of really pissed they lost the Cold War, and yeah, that was 10, 15 years ago. Talking to some of these people, look at it now. It's like, yeah, it's Russia trying to be as much of a high power as it can be, and that's what Putin wants, and people are going for it. Just kind of sucks because I like Russia. Another 699 Canadian from Rogue Rainbow. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed my little ad hoc treatise. Yeah, I try sometimes. I mean, this is just a small fragment of me beyond just this atheist sphere and focusing on the craziness of Hovind. Left-wing pieces of shit unite. Let's continue with Captain Dumbass.
People addressed it. Anyway, here's the thing to consider. In Psalm 105, it tells about this.
Oh, Kent, you were talking about being upset because of people with people you trusted betraying you. Welcome to the club, buddy. Welcome to the club. Congratulations, that's life. Your case, though, think it's because you're kind of a shitty person.
Israel came into Egypt, and Jacob in the land of Ham. Land of Ham, by the way, is where the Egyptians, the Shem, Ham, and Japheth divided the three basic skin colors of the world. We covered that on video number 7.
But remember, I'm not a racist. This is just how we explain ethnic diversity.
And he increased greatly and made them stronger than their enemies. This hard work made them stronger. They thought it was wearing them out. Yeah, it was, but God's going to use it.
Did it make them harder, better, faster, stronger? I need to know.
You watch. Skip down to a couple verses here. God sent Moses to the land of Ham. He sent darkness, and it mentions all the plagues here. He brought them forth with silver and gold. There was not one feeble person among the tribes. All that hard work made everybody healthy and strong, ready to march up to Canaan. So here they are down in Egypt. They went across the Gulf of Aqaba, not the Gulf of Suez. They went across the finger on the right. And Mount Sinai is actually over there in Arabia. So they did not, they found the crossing site. I covered that on video number 7. The chariot wheels are still down there.
Sorry, I was choked on something there for a second. No, they didn't, Kent, and no, they're not.
There's Mount Sinai. The Bible says Sinai's in Arabia. Like, duh. They should have figured that out from reading their Bible. So there's the top of Mount Sinai. We've got a piece of the top of Mount Sinai in our museum.
Oh, here we go. Kent's going to talk about his sulfur balls again. Also, notice he's saying Sinai when it's Sinai. There is no in there.
They actually burned the rock. Pretty cool. Come see it. Okay.
Oh, it's not because it's a fucking volcanic structure. Nope, it's God burned the rock. Hovind.
Sure. Jacob could have known Shem. There we are. This text right here. There's the land of Egypt and the area we're talking about, the time we're talking about. So
whoa, hang on. I got to look back at that map of Africa. Okay, it's I guess. I mean, I think that's South Sudan in there.
There's the land of Egypt and the area we're talking about, the time we're talking about. So the Lord had said to Abram, get out of your country and from your kindred and from your father's house to a land that I will show thee. He promised, it's the promised land. He said, Abraham, leave your family and go there. Abraham didn't quite obey. He took his nephew Lot. And that ended up in tragedy with Sodom and Gomorrah, and Lot having incest with his own daughters, producing the Moabites and Ammonites. And they were trouble for the rest of history to the Jews. And they still are. They're over there today, kidnapping people. Okay?
So but Hovind's not right. Hey, Kent. Hey, Kent. Let me just double check. Is bombing hospitals and schools okay? I just want to make sure. Is that okay? Yes or no, Kent? Is sniping people just walking down the street okay? Kids, is that okay, Kent? Huh? Is taking over people's land okay? Just because some magical book of fairy tale says, oh, this used to be our area, when it fucking didn't? Is that okay, Kent? I just want to make sure. Because if that is okay, then that means that anyone who feels like it should be able to do the same to the gravel pit you call home, and you shouldn't have any fucking problem with it. But you definitely would, wouldn't you? Rules for thee, not for me. Am I right, Hovind? Fuck you, you Zionist piece of shit.
Here we have the land of Canaan, went to Ur of the Chaldees. Abraham went from Ur all the way up to the promised land, stopped in Haran, then went down to the promised land. And God said, I will make of thee a great nation. I will bless thee. I will make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will.
And I feel I need to say, I shouldn't have to say this, but I feel I need to, just to clarify, since this may be somebody's first adventure in the land of a Yamato live, is that I, like so many others out there, draw an extreme distinction between the nation that exists and has existed since the late 40s, known as Israel, and the Jewish people in and of themselves, and find the actions of a nation and of a government to be abhorrent, but in no way representative of the ethnic background of those people in and of themselves. Anyone who's followed me long enough knows that I get the same visceral reaction when someone brings up the Holocaust with a level of just disdain. And it's not even disdain. It's that disregard for the severity of it, i.e. Hovind's Bacon comment, amongst so many other things. So just doing that to clarify that not a single goddamn person out there could ever dare call me, of all people, anti-Semitic. Hovind hates Jews but is pro-Israel because it benefits his apocalypse boner. I am anti-Israel but pro-Jew because I feel like the very Jewish identity has been manipulated and usurped by warlords for their own means to an end. And that a genocide is fucking happening. And most of the world is doing fuck all this. Well, most of the world is complaining about it, but the most powerful nations on earth are sitting there being like, oh yeah, keep on at it. You're doing the good. But, again, Trump's president of peace. But, don't get me started on our past presidents too and how fucked up they've been, You really look into the details. I don't feel like getting angry today, and I'm already past the limit. So we're going to keep going.
Bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. In thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. 7 promises God made. That's why I think President Trump and many nations support Israel, even though they're God's people, but they're not godly people.
Once again, saying that right there shows Hovind's anti-Semitism by its very nature. That he would dare to say that with a straight face. Shows that he cares not for the Jewish identity. He only brings up that as a way of making it seem justified that he can support Israel while simultaneously passively hating the Jewish people themselves. Because, again, he's a Zionist Nazi. Because that is American evangelism.
But God promised, I'll bless you if you'll bless them. I think it's the right thing to do to support Israel. And we should correct them when they need it. But, okay.
We should, Kent. Should we? Really? Really? Oh, wait, I forgot. You don't think they need correcting. Because what they're doing is justified. Because all the murder, death, destruction, and horror in the universe is perfectly okay when it's against Muslims. Because you're not, bigoted at all. You're not biased. You're not racist. Nope. Doesn't matter. It's fine then. People are sick. You know that? You're fucking monsters.
Jews have contributed enormous things to the world population, to the good of the world.
Good God, we're seriously fucking going here. Hovind straight up playing I'm going to talk good about the Jews, but I'm still going to talk shit about them. But see, I don't hate them, even though I'm going to talk about how much I hate them. But cleverly coded, so, the average person doesn't notice that I'm saying I hate them.
0.25%, 0.25% of the world is Jewish. But they have 22% of the Nobel Prize winners, 41% of the world chess champions, 51% of Oscars for best score in song, eminent physiologists, psychologists, in business, finance. Peter said, I believe the Jews have made a contribution to the human condition out of all proportion to their numbers. I believe them to be an immense people. Not only have they supplied the world with two leaders, the stature of Jesus Christ and Karl Marx, totally opposite, okay, but they have never even indulged in the...
Oh, Kent, if you actually understood your Jesus character at all, you wouldn't be saying that.
luxury of following neither one or the other. They didn't follow either one. Jewish contributors to society, Einstein, Jonas Salk. We can go on and read about all that for yourself. All these people were Jews. So was Columbus Jewish? I don't know. I don't care. Okay.
Doesn't matter. He was a piece of shit. I don't give a fuck if he was.
How the Jews changed the world. So Abraham departed, and the Lord spoke to him, and Lot went with him. There's the mistake. And Abraham was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abraham took his wife and Lot, his brother's son, again, shouldn't have done that. And they went to the land of Canaan. And the Lord appeared and said, I'm going to give you this land. This is the promised land.
This land is your land. This land is my land. Bulldoze everyone who stands in your way.
So there it is right there. So what's the borders of the promised land? This will surprise you. The Holy Land then, they took over that little area over there, and now it's roughly the same, okay, that they're fighting over.
Yeah. If the old historic map is even remotely accurate, I don't know or care. Seems to me that in 47 or so, Britain, acting partly on behalf of the United States, but also on behalf of the idea that this stigmatized cult group of people who still throughout most of Europe were not welcomed because anti-Semitism existed in that fervor long before the Nazis weaponized it to the degree they did and enacted actions to facilitate the elimination of what they saw as a problem in the form of those people. Yeah, maybe they banded together and were like, we're going to take this area that the historical record says some of y'all lived in, and granted now it's an Arab population, well, a mixed population. It's a land called Palestine. We're just gonna create a new government there, call it Israel, and give these people in this group that you elect control. And whatever happens, just happens. We're going to keep on supporting you, so no, new Hitlers come along. And look, 80 years later, what the fuck? I'm not saying they made a mistake, but I'm saying they really, really didn't think through what would happen when you just told a group of people who, granted, the land was under British subjugation already, but you tell them straight up, hey, these people own you now, own this land now, so fucking deal with it. Not going to end well.
You got Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the 12 sons, and all that stuff. So in the book of Exodus Bible study, about how Moses led the children of Israel out of Egypt. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph, and all the boys down there. Okay. I did all this already. It's in there twice. Joseph saw Ephraim's children to the third generation. Saw his great-grandchildren. And Joseph saw Ephraim's children to the third generation. And Joseph said, I die.
Lorraine bringing up that the way I understand it, Israel was never a kingdom. The Weeping Wall is a Roman garrison. Yeah, I've heard that as well. And in my understanding, again, the best you'd have is small, isolated city states that were ethnically of the same origin and considered themselves roughly united, as was the standard multiple millennia ago for places that weren't massive empires like Greece, Macedonia, Rome, etc. Um, areas that weren't predecessors to modern states. And yeah, this idea that a small isolated pocket and that being an ancestral homeland just gives you dominion over that when the situation has obviously changed really sucks, especially when you learn that the area was always ethnically mixed and was governed pretty balanced in a way that worked. And it was just decided that, oh, it's just got to change. Like, what the fuck?
The Lord will bring you out of this land. Okay. So Joseph said, hey, kids, you're going to get out of here. God's going to take the people out. But by then there was almost 2 months when Moses let him out. So Genesis ends with Joseph in a coffin in Egypt. That's the way it ends. So the book of Genesis covers 2,300 years of this history of the Jews. Let me get up to 3:15. Exodus chapter.
Kent, were Adam and Eve Jewish? Because that's in Genesis
6. Now the Lord said to Moses, now shalt thou see what I will do to Pharaoh. Hang on, watch this. Okay. He shall let them go. With a strong hand he shall drive them out of his land. And God spake unto Moses. I want God to speak to me. He speaks through this book right here. You want God to speak
I'm just going to interrupt and say I want God to speak to me.
to you? Just keep reading his word. Something will pop up. Say, oh, there's my answer right there. Okay. Now be careful taking a verse out of context. Like the guy was going to kill himself. He said, I think I should just kill myself. I'm going to check the Bible first. He said, opens it up randomly. It says, Judas went out and hanged himself. Oh, I don't want that verse. Let's try again.
Seems like God's sending a message there. Hey, let me ask the Bible right here. Should I scratch that itch? Let's see. Then Haman said unto King Xerxes, there is a certain people dispersed among the peoples, and all the provinces of your kingdom will keep themselves separate. That doesn't tell me about scratching that itch. Your Bible sucks. I can't divinate shit with this piece of crap. Pull out the damn tarot cards to get a more direct answer than that.
Go ye therefore and do likewise. I don't want that one. What thou doest, do quickly. You can make the Bible say about anything by picking verses here and there. No scriptures of any private interpretation.
Wow, ultimate self-awareness there, Kent. Okay, let me ask the holy book of garbage. Should I read or should I continue with the Hovind? Should I even continue this video? God does not show favoritism. Damn it. I think that means I still need to. And yes, I just threw the Bible down in disgust.
Okay, so God spake to Moses and says, I'm the Lord. I appeared unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob by the name of Almighty, God Almighty.
Oh, yeah, the same Isaac that you told Abraham to kill? Because you're a fucking prick?
But by my name Jehovah was I not known to them. The word Jehovah is found in the Bible.
I don't know nothing about no Jehovah, but I can tell you a lot about Genova.
4 times. My name alone is Jehovah. The Lord Jehovah is my strength and my song. Trust in the Lord, for the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength. Now, some people have tried to shorten this to the Hebrew equivalent and call it Yahweh. And I guess they think they're more spiritual for calling themselves Yahweh or something, okay? The title Yahweh.
Hey, there's going to be different interpretations of stuff that's written in what amounts to crazy moon speak to the cultures trying to interpret this stuff.
Let's see, Hebrew consonants, okay? You lead people to Christ, but Rob Skiba will lead you to Yahweh. I don't think I've ever met Rob Skiba, okay? I commented on this some years ago. Who exactly is Yahweh? I've never seen that name in the Bible after 50 years of reading it. I think 1 Corinthians 11 makes it clear who we should follow. Why do some Christians today use the 4?
Ooh, this is a good one from Lorraine. I used to do that when I was Christian. Try to use the Bible to guide me, and I would always land on some strange verse. It's how I learned if a girl is raped, she can be forced to marry her rapist. Oof! Ooh, it's one thing for somebody to make you aware of that passage, like Aaron Ra did for me. It's another thing to be Christian, open up hunting for answers through a random hunt and peck method, and come across that. Wow.
English letters of the Hebrew word for God, Yahweh. Well, the Jehovah found in the Bible 4 times, Jehovah Jireh found in there 1 time, and Jehovah Nisi found in there 1 time. So you got 6 references to.
Look, I'm just saying, Genova had the right idea, all right?
This word Jehovah. Let's see. Jehovah Nisi, there it is, the Lord's my banner, found in Exodus 17. So why did they do this? You see people that do this, I worship Yahweh.
And with Tubian's comment, I now want to watch Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
There's several reasons I come up with. The one, they think they're being respectful and honoring God. I think that probably most of them, they really think it's the right thing to do. I'm not going to fight them over it, okay? I'm just going to explain why I don't. They realize Yahweh is never found in the King James, and they don't really know the history of the Bible of the title Yahweh, so it's an innocent mistake. Make people think they're smarter than the King James translator.
How dumb is Kent? 50 years and he can't finish one book. This reminds me of, I will read nonfiction. I read nonfiction. I will read to inform myself, to educate myself, but it's usually more reference material, or I'll skim through something where I actually need some info from it. But when back many years ago, I'd ordered a copy of Gus Grissom's Gemini. Recall Gus Grissom being a Mercury pilot, flew the first Gemini mission, hence what the book is after, and of course was one of the 3 who died in the Apollo 1 fire, January 27th, 1967. When I got that book, my girlfriend at the time, she, I finished it in like 2.5 days. It's not a big book, but I power read that thing. She's like, I have never seen you read a book like that. And I'm like, it's Gus Grissom's book on Gemini. Like, you do not understand how much me, that man's story, and that particular space program go together. I don't know, just something about, Hovind taking 50 years to read a book, and it's like, yeah, I feel that way. Except for Gemini, I read that son of a bitch in like 2.5 days. I was sad when I finished it, because I was like, I've read it. There's nothing else to read.
Many people like to correct the Bible, okay? To feed their
yeah, like King James.
Ego and pride, like many who claim to speak with heavenly languages.
Damn, Harry Potter in a day. That's honestly fucking impressive, because those are not, those are not light books. They got some ass to them. That's impressive.
You must come to them to understand the deep things of God. You see how simple it is? Yeah, it's all about money. So why not use the other names for God? Why not use the French name, or the German, or the Spanish, or Italian? Why this Yahweh?
Hey, Kent, you want to go through pronouncing those? Let's go back to the list.
The French name, or the German, or the Spanish, or Italian.
Let's see. Dios, Gott, Dio, Kami, Shen, Good. Why don't you pronounce them, Kent? Let's go through your linguistic flavor. Can you at least attempt them?
Why this Yahweh? How did that get started? Well, it's not found anywhere in the Bible. Let's see. I got my notes here. All right. So I'm not going to do it.
Okay, maybe I am thinking a little more of the first couple of Harry Potter books than I should, but still, they'd be something for me to work through, because I don't like fiction. So yeah, I'll take them as impressive.
You can do what you want, okay? Don't call on Kent Hovind and say you really should call him Yahweh. I disagree. God promised he would preserve his words. I think he preserved them in the King James, and it doesn't use the word Yahweh. Get the New English Bible or New Age Bible versions book. We sell that, don't we, Joseph? Yes. Yeah, or you can get it from AV Publications. Great stuff on there, or get it from us if you want. See if you can find it quick. You're awful fast at that, Joseph. $33. Excellent book by Gail Riplinger. Yahweh.
Yeah, I mean, since we're talking indie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, just you gotta love it. Last Crusade's definitely my favorite, and Temple of Doom is damn good, but I've never been able to truly jive with it as much as one would think. I don't know why. Maybe I need to do a fresh watching of all three because it's been a while. I mean, I've been doing Star Wars marathons and stuff many times in between Indiana Jones, but for some reason it just slips my mind to check it out. I got to be in the right mood for Indy. I mean, it's weird saying you got to be in the right mood to watch Harrison Ford back in his prime, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just me. I'm sure y'all can relate. Zoomy points out that they suck at reading, dyslexic, continuously skip lines, and have words that get stuck on. I am right there with you. Not so bad on dyslexia, but it does trip up from time to time, and especially with my vision going bad, focusing to actually read is an absolute chore. Let me tell you, when I get a good pair of glasses finally, and a doctor that actually bothers, it's gonna be a whole other world I'm in. Didn't mention Crystal Skull. I like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I actually enjoyed it in the grand scheme when I thought I wouldn't. And I only watched it relatively recently. Like sometime in the last 5 years, it's the first time I had seen it. I enjoyed it. But I just, after the original three, I'm just like, no, I'm done here. Star Wars has 6 films. Indiana Jones has 3. That's just how it is,
Here's the problem. Created in 1995, Yahoo.com. The word Yahoo is a background for yet another hierarchical organized oracle.
And yes, I do know there's 5 total Indiana Jones movies. Crystal Skull is kind of whatever, but the last one, I'm not dignifying it. I have no interest anymore. You know how it goes. Zumi loved Crystal Skull. Excellent. I'm glad some of us can appreciate that film for itself. Bible only makes sense in the original Klingon. Thank you. I thought I was crazy.
Yahoo. In the 19th century, let's see, German higher critics like Driver and Delici, whoever that is, eagerly grasped the new pronunciation Yahweh. They used it as proof that the God of Israel was nothing more than the tribal God whose name had evolved from a pagan god, Yahoo. This is where it comes from. All these ones with the star on them are not found in the King James Bible. But there are lots of people claiming they're spiritual because they use El Shaddai or El Elyon or Adonai. Okay, do what you want, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, the name Allah never appears in the King James Bible either, but a good chunk of the world's population will tell you that's God's name. And don't try to get on there. It's not the same God shit, because it totally is, bruh. It totally fucking is. So don't even.
These are the only 2 found in the Bible. The Lord's my banner. The Lord will provide. Jehovah Jireh, the Jehovah Nishi. All the rest of them, they probably are names for God, maybe so, but be cautious about that stuff. People get all excited. El Shaddai, wonderful song, okay? That's not his name, okay? Jehovah's used in there twice or 4 times. In case you're calling God Yahweh in a subtle way to demote the God of the Bible to the pagan Canaanite God, Yahoo, Ken Hovind will not be using Yahweh or WHY. Doesn't matter.
Wow. Uh-oh, everyone. Ken Hovind won't be using Yahweh. Nobody fucking cares.
I refer to his God. Okay. So the Lord appeared unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and by the name of God Almighty. But by my name Jehovah was I not known. He said, I'm going to promise.
Michael, forgive me if I'm treading stuff you've already heard on this. You bring up not getting King James as the only correct Bible. It all seems to stem from the idea that that then back in the early 1600s, fucking King James funded a thing to have all the old stuff retranslated and brought into the then current English, and that since that version was, an authorized compiled version by, this guy who apparently was important back then, important enough to still be considered important today that you go with that version or else, because that's the version God preserved, because they just decided it arbitrarily is, even though it's based on texts that had been altered from other originals that we are aware of. Hence, when Hovind brings up the missing passages thing, he's actually bringing up parts that were added and trying to defend that they were added, and saying that because to keep numbering consistent, those numbers just get skipped in other translations, means that they took stuff out. It's very silly.
Was to give them the land of Canaan. The Canaanites were wicked. God gave them plan to repent. He sent prophets there to preach to them. They didn't repent. He said, that's it. I'm wiping you out. My kids get you all your land. Let's see. It came to pass when the sun went down, it was dark, and behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp passed between the pieces. The same day the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, the promised land, from the river of Egypt, look at this now, unto the river Euphrates. You know, the promised land goes from Egypt to the Euphrates River. All that is the promised land.
Wow. Really, Kent? Okay. You want to argue with Saudi Arabia about that? Or maybe you'll take your chances with Syria and Iraq. And, while they hadn't made news, I'm sure Oman and Yemen, don't seem to, don't just let that slide. And, I think that's little Kuwait down in there, right under Iraq. And I'm pretty sure Qatar and the UAE are in there somewhere. But especially Saudi Arabia, Kent, do you really want to start an argument with one of America's buddy nations? Remember the picture of Trump touching the orb? Ooh, that was a big important moment. He touched the orb. Looks like some shit right out of bootleg Final Fantasy. Also, Kent, so that's supposed to be the promised land to those people. Then came Christianity. Then you have Islam following on top. It's kind of tangential to Christianity, but it still acknowledges elements of that story, so you can consider it an offshoot of that either way. Still more directly from the original Jewish constructs, to a point where that would still apply to their promised land as well, which is funny given that Mecca is located in Saudi Arabia. Right in there. So it seems to be doing a pretty good job being a promised land to the most current core revision of the Abrahamic faith structure. Ignoring shit like Mormonism and Jehovah's Witnesses, these Christian offshoots, where we go back into the core trinity of, no pun intended with Trinity, of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Oh, but wait, I forgot, Kent. You're in shock because you didn't expect Yamato here to, off the cuff, be this aware of the geopolitical scape of the area, the broader historical nuances of the theology, and how those tie into the physical land you're saying is denoted in the Bible as being their lands. It's not a matter of me trying to one-up you or anything with this stuff. It's a matter of this is just how I feel right now. And then I am having, again, a little bit of a manic moment because, it is fun streaming. I'm extremely tired still. But apparently the brain's firing on all cylinders, so I feel like going on these little tirades. So, I just thought I'd bring that up, just as a matter of course. Okay, are you going to be okay there, Kent? You need some water? I should probably drink some water. Should have my water bottle in my backpack, actually. Let's continue what you have to say while I chug some water.
Going to make the king of Saudi Arabia very upset, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. I heard the groaning of the children of Israel, who the Egyptians kept in bondage. God heard. He said, I have remembered my covenant. I'm going to fulfill my promise. Wherefore, say unto the children of Israel, I am the Lord. I will bring you out under the burdens of Egypt. I will rid you out of their bondage. I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great judgments. I will take you to me to be a people. I will to be to you a God, and ye shall know that I am the Lord your God. which bringeth you out from under
It was way better when Aaron Ra read this. It is.
the burdens of the Egyptians. You're going to know. That phrase, ye shall know, ye shall know. You're going to know. When God's done, you're going to know. Okay? You're going to know. It's in the Bible, let's see, 85 times. Okay?
From Lorraine. The orb, it was definitely a picture that proved Carlin's quote. It's a big club and you aren't in it. Why isn't Australia in the Bible? That's a very good question. We should ask Hovind and watch as he gives some bullshit response. And thank you, Rogue Rainbow. I'm glad you enjoy my rants. I hope they are of value to you and so many others who bother to watch my crazy ass videos. Mormonism is the answer to the America's not being in the Bible. Yeah. Mormon Jesus.
I will bring you into the land concerning the which I swear to give it to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I will give it to you for a heritage. I am the Lord. And Moses spake to the Lord, children of Israel, and they hearkened not unto Moses for cruel anguish. So Moses went and told the people, hey, God's going to let you out. But they were so...
That's not what it said there for cruel anguish. It's, and Moses spake so unto the children of Israel. But they hearkened not unto Moses for anguish of spirit and for cruel bondage. If you're going to read your holy book, read the whole goddamn thing, you piece of shit.
Beat up and tired from getting their burdens, they wouldn't listen. Sometimes you get just too tired of life to even listen to good advice.
No. Sometimes you just get too tired of life, Kent. All right, let's just be clear. Some days you just want to disappear for a week, all right? Just cease to exist and then pop back in and be like, okay, what's going on? Just, you need that kind of a break. But since existing is technically all we ever do, and we don't have an option in the matter, at least not in the, like a light switch where you can just flip it on and off, at will, yeah, you kind of just got to deal with it. And if that means not listening to motherfuckers trying to tell you what to do, arguing that it's good advice, then that's just what you fucking do. Because let me tell you, most of the people coming to you telling you that they're giving you good advice aren't giving you good advice. If the advice was good, then you wouldn't need to be told it's good. Okay?
The Lord spake to Moses, go in, speak to Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Let the children of Israel go. It's real simple. Moses, go tell Pharaoh, let him go. And
probably. He probably will. Hovind probably does think St. Peter will quiz him on how many times the word tax appears in the Bible. Well, that depends on what you mean by taxes, sir. Hovind.
Moses said, spake before the Lord, behold, the children of Israel have not hearkened to me. How then shall Pharaoh hear me? I'm of uncircumcised lips. So here's Moses first.
Whoa! Uncircumcised. Okay! What are you trying to... Whoa, we're not touching that one. Any way I go with that could be seen as offending demographics that I care about greatly. We ain't going there. But holy hell, language, Kent.
Pharaoh won't listen. Therefore, I might as well not go. Sometimes God calls you to do things, and you don't want to do it because you don't think it's going to work. It's not your job to decide that. God said go.
The hell it ain't. I'm the one doing it. If God thinks it's going to work so well, he can just fucking do it himself. Why does your worthless ass God need somebody to do the work, huh, Kent? Why does a person have to go do this shit? It's always funny that your God can do the things people can't do, but can't do anything that a person can.
Do it. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, and gave them a charge unto the children of Israel and to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to bring the children of...
Hey, you got to pronounce Aaron like you do Pharaoh. You got to say Aaron. You can't say Aaron correctly and then mispronounce Pharaoh.
Israel out of the land of Egypt. And these are the names of the sons. These be the heads of the fathers. The sons of Reuben, the firstborn. I go through and names all of them, all the kids, so you can read all that for yourself. And Levi was 137. And Kohath.
Don't you say that a lot, Kent? I can read the whole goddamn book for myself, in which case, what do I need you for?
Divides up the priesthood in the Exodus chapter 6.
In fact, that's why preachers fucking exist, because back when most people were fucking illiterate, it took the clergy, who were the educated ones, it was important enough for them to be able to read, to interpret the holy book of bullshit for people, to read it to them, because they couldn't fucking read it. But now that everyone can read, they can interpret this piece of shit for themselves, and let me tell you, it's a piece of shit. All right, this is a garbage ass book. Worst I've ever bothered to try to read anything from.
Amram took Jochebed.
I'd literally rather read the phone book. At work, we got in a phone book, apparently, it was Yellow Pages, and it was like, honestly, let me see, because this paper's about the same. It was probably, if I do the Bible here, roughly 350 pages. Yeah, probably like 350 pages thick. You know, and tissue paper like phone books are the same kind of paper as the as Bibles are printed on. It was so damn tiny. I was like, holy fuck. Like, I knew it was bad, but good God, this is it. I was surprised to see one, and pleasantly surprised. But I mean, you know, if you're as old as I am, you know, fucking 40, you know, I predate the Chernobyl disaster. I predate the Challenger disaster, you know. That's how I base time, is off of various important historical events that are usually disasters involving nuclear power or space. I shit you not. So, fuck. It's funny because I'm totally serious on that too. I remember the books being fucking huge and having like the charts in the front where you can just like, you know, look and see like, oh, here's calling area, here's the area codes. Oh man, it's just so cool. Dialing instructions, hell yeah. So I was a nerd even back then when I was a little kid, and now it's like, holy shit. And you know, I go to antique stores and sometimes I see old phone books. I'm like, holy fuck, I want this. And someone wants like $50 for it. I'm like, can't afford that. But the novelty is there. Anyway, how'd I get talking about phone books? I don't even know. How did I get talking about phone books?
This divides up the priesthood in the Exodus chapter 6. Amram took Jochebed.
Yeah, I don't even know. So we're just going to continue.
His father's sister to wife, married his aunt. She bare him Aaron and Moses. Aaron was Moses' older brother, 3 years older, but Moses was the one God called. Let's see. The sons of Korah. You're going to see Korah in the Bible later in a big problem when you study the book of Exodus here. Korah, the Korathites, okay? He's the father of the Levites, okay?
Hey, I don't know much. I remember there was supposed to be some Korah show on that there Nickelodeon, and people were supposed to like it. I don't know. I never gave a shit about Last Airbender. So a spinoff doesn't interest me in the least. Now, keep in mind, for context, I'm a Star Wars fan, and I still didn't give a flying fuck about Clone Wars. About the Clone Wars. Look out, he brought a cube. It's okay, I got a sphere. We can still cone him. The Clone Wars. Because as much of a fan of animation as I am, and as many juvenile things as I can watch, many of them, however, being from my own childhood, so there's a fondness for them, I couldn't find myself quite enjoying the shows as much as compared to the films and such. So Avatar was the same thing. I couldn't get into it. But yeah, Korra, that's funny.
These are that Aaron and Moses, to whom the Lord said, bring out the children of Israel from the land of Egypt. These are they which spake to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to bring out the children of Israel from Egypt. These are that Moses and Aaron. And it came to pass on the day when the Lord spake to Moses in the land of Egypt, that the Lord spake to Moses, saying, I am the Lord, speak thou unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, all that I say to you. Moses, I'm telling you.
Yes, exactly. Well, I predated Iran Contra. It's like, there you go.
What to do? How many of you ever told your children to do something and they didn't want to do it? And you get that attitude, you can see that look on their face like, yeah, I know what you want, but I'm not doing it. Okay. I get that attitude. You can just see attitude written all over them, you know. Clean up your room. Why? I think it's fine. Okay. Is your room clean? Yeah, Mom, it's fine. I said, clean your room. That's an order, soldier. I said, clean your.
I was about to say, you mean y'all don't have corded phones with rotary dials? Because, you know. Still got mine. Well, I still got mine. I mean, I paid, you know, a good bit of money for a freshly rebuilt 5302 from, the fucking like 50s or 60s that was never installed. And I got a ton of phones. Y'all know about my love with, old phone stuff. So yeah, it's just funny. It's like, I got mine sitting right there. I even still have dial tone. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I had to make sure I was actually cleaning up around the equipment, and I had forgotten if I had possibly messed up something. I mean, I never use it. It dials into a private network, but still, the idea is there. Used to be a standard for everyone to have a book that doxed everyone. Yeah, that's the most fascinating thing, is that's back in an era when you could do that. So, okay, so high school for me was 99 to 03, right? Right. First year, they gave a book that was specifically a fucking phone book for all the students. Gave the phone number, gave the address. They only did it that one year because, oh man, did people fucking flip. And there was a lot of prankster shit going on. Although it was fascinating that I found out someone I was friends with actually lived walking distance from me, and I had never encountered them before. We never knew that we lived in the same area. So that was cool. And then, of course, 6 months later, they move. Such is life. But I always thought that was funny. I actually still have that book buried somewhere in the archive of random crap that I actually kept.
Your room. I had one of my students one time, I never forget, his name was Frank. He said, Brother Hovind, I'm sick of my mom telling me what to do. I'm going to join the Army. He did too. He did. He came home from boot camp and his mom walked in. He was still sleeping. She said, time to get up, Frank. Yes, ma'am. He looked around. Taught him a thing or two, okay? Moses, I said, speak unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, all that I say unto thee. Do you?
So I do want one of the Captain Crunch bosun whistles. Preferably a vintage one as opposed to a 3D printed one, although I'd accept a 3D printed one. But, oh man, I've just not had the spare scratch to really go for it. But being able to blow 2600 at will would be pretty fucking awesome. Completely useless these days. But the idea of knowing what kind of power that one little toy whistle once held is pretty freaking awesome. Now, granted, in the media, it's portrayed a lot different from how it actually was. They treat it as way more powerful than it is. It's just a tool amongst many that were necessary. But if you found the right system, it alone would have been able to do some damage. But even then, just killing, calls, long distance calls in the middle of them going by, like walking by a bank, airport payphones, blowing 2600 and disconnecting all the long distance trunks would be pretty awesome. Loop disconnect telephone exchanges are fascinating. Yes, System X is rather boring, but still. The UK, it was really cool because my favorite analog switching system, Pentaconta crossbar system from ITT, a variant of it was adopted by BT as part of the system before System X. I forget exactly what the names were, but it was basically the same hardware, and it lasted a pretty long time. That's pretty cool shit. But again, being in America and with phone freaks like Evan Doorbell being American, I mostly know the U.S. system. But there's a few tapes of UK calls going through and UK phone freaks documenting stuff, so it gets some interesting audio samples, and the hardware and details are historically noted.
You understand. See, Christ glorified not himself to be made a high priest, but he that saith unto him, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. As he says in another place, Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek.
Well, I mean, the pointlessness on the bosun whistle is the fact that it blasts the 2600 hertz tone. Nothing is controlled by 2600 hertz tones. Nothing's in-band signaling anymore. So the Captain Crunch bosun whistle, famous in the 60s for phone freaking by the freak nicknamed Captain Crunch. the tech the trick doesn't work anymore. So that's why only reason I bring up uselessness.
Who in the days of his flesh offered up prayers and supplications with strong crying and tears unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard in that he feared. Jesus prayed, Lord, you want me to go to the cross? Yep, have to. It's what has to be done. Okay. And being in agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was as it were great drops of
Yep, couldn't have been done any other way. Just making note of that.
blood falling to the ground. Though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered. Sometimes people say, why is there suffering? I don't know. In most cases, I don't know. I just trust God. Sometimes it's for your good. You obey orders, soldier. Do you understand? You don't have to understand what the order is for. You just obey, period. Okay? Moses said before the Lord, behold, I'm of uncircumcised lips. How shall Pharaoh hearken to me?
Ew, he said it again.
Okay, here we go. First he said, Pharaoh won't listen. Now he said, I can't speak well. Look, do you have an excuse why you're not serving God? How many have ever heard of David?
Because your God's an imaginary garbage ass character that in no way, shape, or form deserves to be served, given that they don't exist, and any edicts from this deity seem to be antithetical to human decency. So fuck your God.
Ring, the evangelist, David Ring. I love. He starts. You got to go get his stuff. It's amazing. Same age as I am. He had cerebral palsy, and from childhood, born with it. He starts off his messages. I have cerebral palsy. What's your problem? You say I can't.
Oh wow! Way to mock somebody. You're supposed to support Kent. You don't realize you're being fucking offensive here, right? Like you're being fucking rude. It was subtle, but it was there.
Serve God because just shut up right there. Shut up. There's no excuse. David Ring did it. He's in Nashville with his wife and 4 kids. Born without arms. John Fopp, I guess you pronounce, understands firsthand, first foot, I guess, the difficult gaps between envisioning an outcome and achieving it. He once led a miserable, dependent, limited existence. At age 10, he couldn't pull up his own pants. Today, he operates his own company, travels the world, runs a large corporate, a nonprofit agency, and is a husband and father. What's your excuse? You can't serve God? You can't. He does if he doesn't have any arms. How about Johnny? Ever heard of Johnny Erickson Tada? Dove into shallow water when she was 17, broke her neck, paralyzed neck down. Now what are you going to do? I'm going to serve God. Johnny experienced anger, depression, suicidal thoughts, religious doubts. During her occupation therapy, she learned how to paint with a brush between her teeth and started selling her artwork. She's written over 48 books. What's your excuse? Why can't you serve God? Fanny Crosby, 6 weeks old, the doctor put the wrong stuff in her eyes back in the 1800s and blinded her, blind for life. She wrote 8,000 hymns, blind. I can't serve God because my toe hurts, or I can't serve God because, shut up. Has God called you to do something? Running away from God.
I lost 9.5 years of my life because they threw me in jail for shit I'd say I didn't do. Oh, shut up. Here's an idea, Kent. Get the fuck over it. Why don't you take inspiration from these people you're lauding, people you're using to manipulate a gullible audience into doing more bullshit for their deity, but since that's hard work, they'll just give you money to do it on their behalf, and take your own goddamn advice and get the fuck over shit. What's your excuse? You've been whining about this shit for longer than when it happened.
Highlights of Jonah. God said, Jonah, go to Nineveh. Went that way. 3 days in Wales Seminary, he learned a lot. Came home. Okay. I believe he died in there and was resurrected. People say, how did Jonah live in the whale? It doesn't say he lived.
Yeah, for context, when we're talking about the bosun whistle from the Captain Crunch things, this may end up coming through loud. It may not quite come through loud. Let me actually pull myself bigger so that I can see the volume level. But the 2600 hertz tone that stuff worked with was this. And, then multi-frequency tones to do all the stuff, yeah. Yeah, I like phone stuff, as you all will know.
In the whale. Okay, it says he was in the whale for 3 days. Blessed be God the Father. Father, the Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies, this is 2 Corinthians, who comforteth us in all our tribulation. You having trouble and trials and problems? God will comfort you. Here's why. Here's why he's putting you through that we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble by the comfort wherewith we are comforted of God. God's putting you through the training so you can help somebody else. Maybe you
Helps
lose
if I
one arm or
minimize
something.
myself. Sorry about that. Luckily, it's anything.
Maybe now you start a ministry for one-armed people. I get calls every day, people saying, Brother Hovind, what do I do? Yesterday.
Chris from Record Talk with, when Kent goes to the Chinese buffet, he requests the King James version only fortune cookies. Oh, that's great. Can't serve God because I don't see evidence that God exists. Exactly.
Got probably 80 phone calls. This guy said, my wife left me for no reason. She cleaned out our bank account and left. Now she has filed for divorce, and my state is a no-fault state, meaning she doesn't have to give a reason. It'll be granted. What do I do? I said, well, brother, let's look at 2 Corinthians chapter.
I wouldn't take advice from somebody who's been through multiple divorces and seems to have had a terrible job going through all of them. I would seek actual legal counsel on this, which usually involves filing some kind of motion to do divisions of stuff and effectively claiming theft of, I believe it qualifies as what amounts to claiming theft of the funds for her, quote, clearing out the bank account. And that such, I think a lot of places at this stage that's actually not seen as a good thing. One of the few things where, it's handled on an equal party basis, but it's actually looked at the action itself rather than the gender identities of the people doing it, to where women can't just do that to a guy and vice versa.
1, verse 4. Maybe God's putting you through this because you as a Christian can now start a ministry to help other people going through the same thing. This happens to millions of people. Wife just leaves. Why? Who knows? They don't even know why. Okay. Get that video about the husband.
No, they know exactly why, Kent. Let's be clear. I've never been married, but I've been through plenty of breakups. And there's a reason. All right. I'll admit, some relationships didn't go the best. Wish they had, but they didn't. I'm not going to sit there and be a little whiny fuck about it and be like, they didn't give a reason. They don't know a reason. No, they have a reason. The reason may not be justified, but in the end, or feel justified, but in the end, it is what it is. Move on. I get being a little bitter about it, but given your extremely assholic nature, it's no surprise you've been through now 4 divorces.
Or we go shopping for a husband. How many have seen that one? The six levels. It's hilarious. I have that cut up in the store. Yeah. First level, never mind. Just watch. Type in the husband store. I don't know what. Guy called me yesterday. Brother Hovind, 25 years ago, I made my wife get an abortion. I've been haunted by my conscience for 25 years, knowing I murdered my child. What do I do? I said, well, let's look at 2 Corinthians.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure nobody motherfucking called Hovind on this. And why did they censor murdered? Is this TikTok, Kent?
Chapter.
You know that's why everybody talks this and censors things the stupid ways they do now, right? It's strictly because of TikTok. YouTube's even stressed that most of these things people are censoring are absolutely fine. Hence me not giving a damn, and it hasn't seemed to have affected my my visibility or anything. Of course, I also play their game when it comes to selecting things like the ad options and such. So nothing gets restricted, but it also I get ads. Very rarely do I not get monetized or limited monetization. So yeah, just saying.
1. How many other people are having the same problem? Millions. After abortion, there's a real trauma sets in, like, man, what did I do? You can now help them. David's baby died. He said, I can't bring him back to me, but I shall go to him. There's things you can do. Brother Hovind, I've been sentenced to prison. I did nothing illegal. I reported some cops who were selling dope. I did the right thing. The system is corrupt.
I'm sorry. I'm just taking this obvious bullshit story at face value. If you see cops doing some shit they shouldn't be doing like that, you just look the other way because they obviously know they've got immunity from this kind of shit. So it's probably best you just pretend you didn't see anything, just like y'all do every day when you see the preachers doing the shit they do with whatever they do or whomever they do it with. Just do what the Catholic Church does and move them around, and I didn't see nothing. Seems to work well for them, doesn't it?
What do I do? I said, let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 1. Brother, I had the same thing happen to me. You do the right thing. Watch my open letter to Donald Trump, February 1st on all my different channels.
Good God, he's still milking that shitty ass open letter.
You can do right and end up going to jail. Lots of innocent people are.
Except you did wrong, Kent. You did wrong. We know you did wrong. It's fucking obvious by anyone who looks at your transaction history as presented in that document. You know how I know? Because I fucking did it. You pulled out $9.5 grand on September 11th, 2001, amongst other days. I think you did it 3 or 4 times that week. Or, excuse me, had Joe do it 3 or 4 times in that week. But even on motherfucking 9/11 itself, you still pulled out sub 10K to make sure that those reports didn't have to be filed to let the IRS in on how much money you actually had moving constantly. Which is what, the problem with structuring is. In case you didn't understand that. Or your gullible ass followers didn't understand that.
There, by the way, get my book, The Kennel, about the prison system. They shouldn't even have them.
Buy all my shit. I've hawked like 20 things this time. It's so convenient I bring up all this shit. I was talking about what's your excuse for not serving God after spending forever talking about fucking Exodus, and all of a sudden I'm hawking a book about the prison system. How does that work? Oh, wait, I'm Hovind, so of course it fucking works, because I gotta sell my shit.
When I become king, I'm shutting it down. You give them a
Fuck
fine,
you.
a beating, or execute them. Period. Anyway, it's another long story. Okay, that's Exodus chapter 6. God tells Moses what to do. He don't want to do it, so he starts making excuses. Go on to chapter 7 in the next Bible study. He gives even more excuses. Thank you for joining us. Now listen, if you're not saved, you need to get into God's family first. Then you need to find out what he wants you to do. God's got
Hey. Scunthorpe, you gotta watch out for that one. Just saying.
Ministry for everybody. Can serve as professional bad examples for the rest of us. We don't need any more. We got plenty of those already. Okay. What's God's calling on your life? Mine is to take dinosaurs and use them for the glory of God and use God's creatures to bring people to the Lord. Maybe you've got something different you do. I don't know. Just do whatever he says. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for your word. Thank you. We got to carry a copy of it, Lord. Help us to read it and heed it. Lord, there might be somebody listening.
Your story's retarded.
Making excuses.
Sorry, I apologize for dropping an R-bomb. I'm trying to work good on that, but there's no other way for me to accurately describe the garbage that this man thinks is truth.
You called him to do something years ago.
It is very clearly written by and for people who must be mentally inhibited or have been incredibly lied to throughout their lives.
Teach a Sunday school class or go off to Bible college or be a preacher or start a ministry or do something. And they're making excuses. Lord, would you please do whatever is necessary to get their attention and get them into your service? Send a whale to get them.
Send a whale. A whale.
Wake them up. Please use our little ministry.
Wake me up in Hovind.
Reach millions worldwide now, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. All right. Sorry for going so
Boo. Fuck you.
long here. We will take the crew to lunch and see you tomorrow night.
Are you going to the Chinese restaurant, Kent? Or did our many phone calls and emails about the fact that you have repeatedly said some racist shit cause them to no longer accept you? Inquiring minds want to know. Because you hadn't brought up the Chinese restaurant since the last little bit of racism.
Thank you. Bye.
Fuck you, bye. Is that it? Game over? Okay. It's over. It's over. All right. So let me close this. So I had a 50-50 chance of closing the right window, and look at which one I closed. Oh, I fucking hate having to use shit like Restream to do all this. But anyway, yeah. So that was the Hovind stream. That was this Sunday stream this morning. Can't believe I turned that into an almost 2-hour stream, but that's that's what happens. I don't know. I don't have much of a follow up. Again, videos coming in the future probably be a little more sparse. Continue to be while I work on other stuff. I mean, I've got a piece I need to make regarding some stuff in the broader sphere of the quote unquote atheist community. I've got a bit of stuff to say on that and community concepts in general, my experience with them. And I'm going to focus on other stuff that makes me a little more happy. So expect a few more random videos here or there, other little things. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of winging it now. So I got more important stuff that to worry about, and more things that I want to do that take precedence over a lot of this bullshit. But keep at stuff from time to time. That being said, I'm out.